Hi, boys and girls. Today we're going to look at some sentences that have a prepositional phrase. A prepositional phrase is a group of words that start with a preposition and ends with a person, place, or thing. They tell us where and when the action takes place. But what exactly is a preposition? Prepositions tell us where or when. It connects a noun to the rest of the sentence. Here are some examples of prepositions: across, after, before, behind, beside, in, on, off, out, over, through, and under. Here are some steps that might help us figure out if there's a prepositional phrase in our sentence. Number 1, search for the word to. If you find the word to, it could be used as an infinitive or preposition. Hint, not every sentence has the word to in it. Number 2, grab your magnifying glass and search for the preposition. If you find one, circle it. Number 3, ask who or what. It's usually a noun. Number 4, cross out the prepositional phrase. That's the imposter. The reason you want to find the imposter is so you don't mistake it for the subject. Because number 5 wants you to find the subject and verb in the sentence and label it. Let's look at a sentence that has a prepositional phrase so we can see how it can help us determine the subject in the sentence. Mrs. Taylor hiked through the woods. Let's look through this list of prepositions to see which one was in our sentence. Was it across? No. How about after, before, behind, beside, in, on, off, out, over, through? What's that? You heard the word through in our sentence? That's right. The word through was on our list of prepositions, so it must be the beginning of our prepositional phrase. Now we're going to ask ourselves, through what? Through the woods. That makes through the woods our prepositional phrase. We're going to cross that out so we don't mistake any of those words for the subject. Now we're left with two words, Mrs. Taylor and hiked. What did we do? That's right, we hiked. That's our action verb. So we write V on top of hiked. And then we ask ourselves, who hiked? Mrs. Taylor is the only word that's left, so she is the subject, Mrs. Taylor. Let's play a game of hide and seek to review prepositions. You count to 10, I'm going to hide, and then come find me. Where is Mrs. Taylor hiding?
Mrs. Taylor is hiding in the garage.
Where is Mrs. Taylor hiding now?
Mrs. Taylor is hiding behind the chair.
I wonder where Mrs. Taylor is hiding now.
Surprise! Mrs. Taylor was hiding under the green screen.
Let's practice identifying some prepositional phrase and some complete sentences. The bat flew across the sky. Pause the video and write down the prepositional phrase. Then write down the subject and the verb. If you said that across the sky was a prepositional phrase, then you are correct. Bat is the subject and flew is the verb. The cat ran under the table. Pause the video and write down the prepositional phrase. Then write down the subject and the verb. If you said that under the table is the prepositional phrase, then you are correct. Cat is the subject and ran is the verb. The crow sat on the scarecrow. Pause the video and write down the prepositional phrase. Then write down the subject and the verb. If you said that on the scarecrow is a prepositional phrase, then you are correct. Crow is the subject and sat is the verb. The leaf fell off the tree. Pause the video and write down the prepositional phrase. Then write down the subject and the verb. If you said that off the tree is the prepositional phrase, then you are correct. Leaf is the subject and fell is the verb.
Watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat. Abracadabra.
Mrs. Taylor pulled a rabbit out of her hat. Pause the video and write down the prepositional phrase and identify the subject and the verb. If you said that the prepositional phrase was out of her hat, then you are correct. Mrs. Taylor is the subject and pulled is the verb. Congratulations! You did an unbelievable job learning prepositional phrases. Keep on practicing, young editors. Goodbye.